Many reviewers have been dubbing the LG G4 as the best smartphone of 2015, and while we're only halfway through the year, there is very good evidence to support that claim. But my question is the LG G4 worth the upgrade from last year's LG G3? I'm Bo HD, and in this video I'm going to be going over what I like about this device, what I don't like about this device, and if it's worth the upgrade. So the LG G4 manages to improve upon the spec beast of a smartphone that we had last year, the LG G3. Now I used the LG G3 probably more than any other smartphone last year, and one of my biggest disappointments with this device was its build construction and its hardware. Now the G4 hasn't changed a whole lot in the hardware department. The two main differences have to do with the ever so slight curved display, which helps it fit better in the hand since it does curve to fit the natural curve of your hand. It adds to the experience, but I did feel like it could be even more curved to maximize the comfortability, since it's really not that noticeable, to be honest. The other main difference has to do with the back cover. Now, unfortunately, I have the metallic silver back cover, which is plastic, and it features a checkered, dimple-like texture back cover, and it's very slippery, and it feels like plastic, and it doesn't feel very premium at all. But LG does offer a genuine leather back cover, which I highly recommend you select if you pick up this device. It's grippy, it's stylish, and it's just so much better than plastic. And best of all, regardless of which back cover you have, they are removable, so you can have access to the 3000 mAh battery and a micro SD card slot for expandable storage. You really don't have these two features on flagship smartphones these days, even though they are so beneficial. Now we still have the back-facing buttons for the volume controls and the power button. There's a 16 megapixel camera sensor with optical image stabilization, 2.0 technology, and a laser autofocus camera sensor and a flash. There's an IR blaster up top, a 3.5mm headphone jack, and a micro USB port on the bottom. And there is an 8 megapixel front-facing camera sensor on the front of the device above the beautiful display, which we will touch more on here in a moment. The loudspeaker is located on the back of the device, which is not the best place for it. It's very loud, but it doesn't face towards you when you're watching content or consuming media, and it's easy to cover up with your hand. But as for that display, it's the same size and the same resolution as the G3. It's a 5.5-inch 2560 by 1440p resolution IPS LCD display, which was cutting edge last year. But LG didn't just include the same old display, this is an even better display. It's brighter, it has a higher contrast ratio, and it's just so much more vibrant and saturated. While it is an LCD panel, and I do prefer OLED panels mostly for the deep blacks and the battery saving capabilities, this display does rival the best mobile displays Samsung has in its flagship smartphones. It really is a great display. Packed inside the LG G4 is a Snapdragon 808 hexa-core processor that is 6 cores, with 3GB of RAM. The Snapdragon 810 octa-core processor has some heating issues, so to be safe, LG included the 808 processor, which, isn't quite as powerful, but in my testing, I had a very hard time getting this thing to slow down and stutter at all. I mean, it kept up with just about everything I threw at it. Apps open up fast, multitasking is still a breeze. My biggest complaint is in regards to the software. I mean, taking a step back, the great thing about Android is you can definitely customize and tweak just about everything about your phone, so many of these issues I found aren't too big. But the software experience running out of the box isn't my favorite. There are abrupt square icons, and the material design animations of the app drawer isn't there, even though this is Android 5.1 Lollipop, by the way, which is pretty awesome. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this isn't really a huge deal at all since I can slap on the Google Now launcher, but aesthetically, the skin on top of Android 5.1 Lollipop is a little bit inconsistent with its design. Round quick settings and square icons and fading animations, I mean, overall, the OS works, and I guess that's really all that matters. But you want to know what really works and works really well? Well, it's that 16 megapixel camera sensor. So my previous daily driver was the Galaxy S6 Edge, and one of the main reasons was because of its camera. But the LG G4, I'm just gonna say it features the best smartphone camera sensor on the market, as it has an f1.8 aperture lens and OIS 2.0 technology that actually has a 3-axis gyroscope to help steady your shot. So with that low aperture, you get a very milky depth of field, and more light is able to pass through the lens, so you can actually capture better low light images. Now, I will add that in low light, there appears to be some sort of software enhancement taking place that artificially exposes images in low light, which does add some noise, but I think it's better than the alternative. The The laser autofocus sensor, which is still found in the LG G4, also adds to the experience as you can accurately focus on a subject very quickly. All of the pictures you see here are from the auto mode, but LG did add full manual control of this camera, allowing you to change things like the white balance, the ISO, the scene settings, just like a DSLR camera. Now, the 4K video footage is also top of the line. It does a very solid job adjusting to various lighting conditions, and it's pretty darn steady as well. However, I didn't notice much of a serious improvement with the OIS 2.0 technology compared to standard optical image stabilization. I think it's mostly a marketing ploy. But, either way, the 4K video footage captured from the G4, but the 4K footage captured from the G4 is still beautiful, and it looks really good, just like the pictures captured from the G4. The front-facing camera sensor is an 8-megapixel camera sensor, and it does a pretty good job capturing selfies, but I would trade a wide-angle lens for a sensor with a lower megapixel count any day of the week. But, overall, good job LG in the camera department. Now it's time to talk about the battery life. Now, I don't like to talk about this area of a smartphone just because I've been so disappointed with the battery life of Android smartphones this last year. It seems like manufacturers don't care about the battery life. They don't care about the battery in general. They kind of put it off the last thing they have to worry about. They try and get smartphones as thin as possible, and that ultimately reduces the battery size and the battery life. But thankfully, the LG G4 doesn't do this, or didn't do this for me. It features a 3000 milliamp battery that has pretty darn good battery life. I can easily get through a single day of moderate to heavy usage. It has quick charging technology, and you can add wireless charging, but it doesn't natively support it out of the box, unfortunately. Best of all though, when the battery life decides to not hold a charge anymore, you can easily replace it thanks to the removable back cover. So props to LG for including this back cover. Please don't remove it in future versions of this smartphone. Overall, the LG G4 is the Android smartphone to beat right now, as it not only features a removable back cover with a removable battery and a micro SD card slot for expandable storage, but it has a beautiful display, a good performance, an incredible camera, and best of all, the battery life can back it all up. Now, is it worthy of an upgrade from last year's LG G3? Well, yes, but no. So chances are, if you have the LG G3, you probably signed a 2-year contract, which means you're locked into a contract for 2 years until you can upgrade to another phone, or you're paying it off in monthly payments. So if you wanted to upgrade, you would have to either break your contract, or you'd have to pay off the rest of this device, which is probably a pretty good chunk of change. So in that case, it's not worth it, unfortunately. However, if you're due for an upgrade, you want to get rid of your crappy old phone and upgrade to something fancy and new, then by all means, the LG G4 is the phone to upgrade to. I would definitely choose the leather version of the LG G4, and I would just skip over the Samsung Galaxy S6 or the S6 Edge, which also are tempting offers right now, because the battery life of those devices is terrible. I can't even get through a full day on a single charge with those devices, where I can get through a full day on a single charge with the LG G4, and I can expand the storage, and I can swap out the battery and pop in a fresh one when this battery decides to die. Trust me, you're going to want a smartphone that can last throughout an entire day on a single charge, and thankfully I found the LG G4 to be able to do that, which is kind of sad that it's one of the only smartphones that I can say can actually last me throughout an entire day on a single charge, but it can, and it does. So that is my review of the LG G4. If you guys like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Maybe clickety-clack that subscribe button if you are brand new to my channel, because there will be plenty of other gadgets and tech reviews coming very soon. So definitely stay tuned for that. If you guys are feeling awesome, feel free to follow me on my social networking sites, which I'll link down below. You can just Google BoHD if you want, and you'll find them all there. But with that said, guys, as always, I'm BoHD. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.